Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Frayed Not. Now, with a title like that, I went for actually a different image before I went back to this one. So I created a different image where essentially Sleuth was rock climbing, hanging by a rope, and with a knot at the top that's slowly fraying, and it looks like any moment Sleuth is about to fall off this particular cliff that he was climbing. And I just thought, no need to tempt fate. I can do something that's a little bit simpler without having to jeopardize Sleuth here and seeing a rope slowly falling apart as he falls down to a precarious situation. Let's keep this family friendly, shall we? Right, what else do I want to say before I take a look at the puzzle? Thank you so much, by the way, for voting to some of the various designs that I'm looking to put up on some various products. If you haven't already noticed, you can actually find, well, there are 3 designs out of 4 that were voted for, and they're all up. Of course, the one that Mrs. Sleuth has actually voted for ended up being number 1 anyway. I guess she's a lady of good taste. Of course she is, given she chose Mr. Sleuth. And before I get into too much trouble and have a particularly large head and then embarrass myself as I take very long to solve this puzzle, let's crack on and actually take a look at what we have for today. So, I'm Afraid Not by Megan. I'm going to go with 033. And we've got sort of the disjoint set again. So I'll take you through the rules, but I've only really ever featured the disjoint set once before. But even taking a look at this puzzle right now, I can see how it is absolutely necessary. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Megan intended this. Is that kind of like a rope here with all of these cages? It almost looks as if it's the thumbnail. And, bits of rope flaying, or fraying, I should say, not flaying. Definitely not flaying, fraying off. Maybe. Bit of a stretch. Right, normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. I'll go with the killer cage rule first, and then I'll come back to the disjoint set. The digits in cages must sum to the number printed in its corner. Digits may not repeat within a cage. So you can see here, that's a 5 cage, because you can see these 2 cells are highlighted by these dashed lines or contained by these 2 lines. And then in the top left corner is the digit 5. So it means that these 2 cells must sum up to 5. If that was a 2, this would have to be 3 to make sure that this is indeed adding up to 5. Now, digits cannot repeat. So, I can't even find an even one, for example. But never matter. They're all in the same column, in the same row. So obviously no repeats. Now, the disjoint set, and like I said, I've only featured it once before, but it was a phenomenal puzzle. If I can find it, I'll make sure I link it up here so that you explore it if you haven't played it before. But what that means is the same digit, let's say that this is a 2, and I'm going to use a kind of a larger size one here, can't be anywhere. Now that I've placed it in cell 5 in box 2, this can't even be a 2. And I think with error checking, this will actually throw up an error. Yes, it does. So essentially, every cell here in the center, even though it doesn't see it with Sudoku rules, cannot be the same digit. And you can see, obviously, you've got 9 cells in the same location across 9 boxes. So essentially, you've got another set of the digits 1 to 9 in this disjoint set. Now, I guess if you're into rock climbing and you're not afraid of frayed knots, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I'm sort of taking it all in right now. And I can very much see that it is about disjoint set. So I'll give you an example here. What's catching my eye? There's a few cages that are catching my eye, like the 5s, the 6s, because there's really only 2 ways of doing these. The 15 is interesting, the 14 is interesting, even the 22 is interesting. So these are all cages that can only be done in one of 2 ways. Now, 5 cage, because we've got 4 of them, let's go with that. These are either 1-4 or 2-3. What's also interesting, and I'm actually going to color it in purple, is that they happen to be occupying the top right, sort of the two top right cells in these four boxes. And essentially we've got, because they have to be different digits, mind you, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Essentially in all of these remaining cells, I cannot use the digits 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are made up of 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. And in particular, the digit that is part of the 6 cage is quite interesting because that means that can only be a 5, that can only be a 1. And we've got digits in 1.5 minutes. That means this is not a 1, 4. This has to be a 2, 3. I don't know if I can tell anything about these. But now that essentially I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 done, it also means these cells are from 6, 7, 8, and 9. Clearly this particular one is not from 9 because you can't have a 9 inside a 9 cage. So this is 6, 7, 8. This is 1, 2, 3. Is that 6, 7, 8, 9? I don't think it is. You can't have a 7 in a 14 cage because that would be a double 7. That's not a 7. To make this work, I need 5, 6, or 8 to make sure that these two cells add up to 14. Again, I cannot have a 9 in here either. Is that correct? Yeah, so this is 6, 7, 8. This is 6, 7, 8. There's another one that's 6, 7, 8. One of these is a 9. I really don't want to use corner pencil marks across boxes. That will confuse me, but I hope that is evident by the fact that these are 6, 7, 8s. But what's also interesting is this is 1, 2, 3. Just to make sure that the 9 cage adds up to 9. Where else am I going to take this next? I did say the 22 cage is interesting. I'll just show you this, but I think we should be thinking about the 15 and the 7. But 22 in 3 cells can only be done one of 2 ways. Now you can see without a 9, the maximum I can make it would be indeed 6, 7, 8, which obviously would break this cell, but 6, 7, 8 can only add up to 21. So that would not be enough to get to the 22 cage. So you have to have a 9. Then if you have a 9 in here, you're joint with 2 digits that add up to 13. And without 4, 9 being available, because obviously I used the 9, it is either 6, 7 or 5, 8. So this is sort of forced. Well, at least it's down to 2 options, which you can see 6, 7 makes that fairly restricted. And yeah, 6, 7 breaks it. Because remember, I've already placed 1, 2, 3, and 4 in all of these cells. And I've also placed 5 in this row. So this is not 5. This is from 6, 7, 8, or 9. That's because of the disjoint set. 9 is not available because I've already placed it inside the 22 cage. Now, if I make this 22 cage 6, 7, and 9, I've broken it because I end up with 8 twice in this box. So this has to be 5, 8, 9. This is a 6, 7 pair. That can't be a 3 anymore because... Is it 3? Yeah. What did I remove from here? No, 3 is fine. 3 and 6 is fine. It's 1 because I removed the 8. I probably should color code these a little bit to help me, but I'm going to keep going without it for a second. Now, what I also wanted to point out is this 7 cage. This sort of caught my attention because one of the options for a 7 is 3, 4. But if you see how many low digits I end up with, that's 5 of them that are made up from 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I can tell you definitively about this 7 is it's not from a 3, it's not a 3, 4 pair. It's either 1, 6, and because of this 1, it'll be 1, 6 in this direction, or it's 2, 5. Now, between these cells, I already have all the low digits of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, I can say that's for certain. So this digit here for the 10 has to be a high digit. It is 6, 7, 8, or 9. This can only be from 1, 2, 3, and 4 to, essentially for any 10 cage, you need to be adding a high digit and a low digit. And we've demonstrated this is not 1, 2, 3, or 4, it is 6, 7, 8, or 9. I am tempted to color a bit more so I don't miss some of the obvious things, like this is a 1, this cannot be a 1, and therefore this cannot be an 8 either. And now we end up with a 6, 7 pair, meaning this is not 6, 7, this is 6, this is not 6, that's 8, 9. 8 and 9 can only be joined with a 5 or 6 to make that a 14. You can see that's now an 8, 9 pair, that's a 6, 7 pair. Essentially, cell 2 in every box are pretty much pencil marked at this point. What else am I missing that may be significant? It's quite... All right, once I remove the 1 from the 9, because of this one, that's a 2, 3. That can't be a 2, 3, 5 anymore. That has to be 1, 4. Obviously, if that was 2, 3, I've broken this cell. So this is 1, 4. And because this is 1, 4, and this is a second 1, 4, this has to be 2, 3. You've got 2, 3 now in column 5, meaning there are no 2s in this 7 cage. 2, 5 are gone. That's giving us a 1, that's giving us a 6. That can't be a 6, and therefore that can't be a 4. And we actually don't have 2 or 3 either in this 5 because of this 5 cage. So 2, 3 are gone. This is just 1, 9. Not 9s. 9 doesn't help us in here just yet. This 6 tells us this is a 7. That's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 2. Disjoint set tells us this is a 2. This is a 3. This 1 gives us the 4, the 1. Disjoint set gives us the 1, the 4. We're on a roll. He says, just as he loses steam once again. I haven't really covered everything just yet. So I probably need to look at more cages in a moment. These two cells are 5 and 8, just to complete the column. It's probably worthwhile thinking about 15. I haven't really done much with it just yet. This 7 gives us a 6 in here, which gives us a 7 in there. I did say 6, didn't I? And then typed in 7. That gives us a 3 in there. And then we now know that these are made up of 1, 2, and 4. That's not a 1, that's not a 2. Can I do any better? Probably. That's not a 1 because that would require a 9. If that's 2 or 4, this would be 6 or 8, which seems feasible. A 2-4 pair means that this is a 1. Is that everything I can do for the moment? It looks like it, doesn't it? Not seeing anything else just yet. Is the 11 cage interesting? Yes, it's not 2-9, it's not 3-8. This is 4-7 or 5-6, and it can't be 5-6 because there is a 5 in here. This is 4-7. Center cells, I will color these because I'm sort of losing track of what they all are. So I've only used the 3, and the 5 and 8 are gone. You can see, for example, that because these are forming the digits, 1 to 9, and you can see that this 2 has eliminated all of them. So essentially, one of these is a 2. And actually, no, I've done 1. I've done 3. I need a 5, well, which is in this one of those 5 8s. I need a 6, which is not in these 2 because of this 6. So one of these is a 6. It's a very odd way of solving it, I imagine. And then I need, still quite a lot of options. I'm not sure this is useful. I'm not going to go through and enumerate all the options, really. Anyway, 4, 7 in here gives me a 2, gives me a 4, gives me an 8. No, doesn't help. That's therefore a 5. This is therefore an 8. 13 cage is looking very restricted, but we know that this is from 6, 7 or 8, 9. And I am tempted to just write down all the options for a second. That's not an 8, therefore that's not a 7. Do I have anything else? No. Let's think about the 13 for a second. So 13 is either 9, 4, which seems possible with a 9 here and a 4 there. That seems possible. 5, 8 is not possible, and then 6, 7. Now 6, 7 would make this a 9 and then would make this a 6. That is, well, I mean, so 6, 7, that couldn't be a 6 because that would be a 9, 6 pair. So that's not a 6, and therefore that's not a 7. Got another 4, 7, another 6, 9. It's a fascinating puzzle, this. I don't know about the 1-star difficulty rating, but maybe people find disjoint sets far easier than I'm making it seem right now. Maybe we can complete this row here. We've only got 2 digits left to go, such as where does 1 go? It can only be in here. And we know what this digit is. It is a 6. Still not helpful. Very interesting. I still don't know about the 8, 9 in here. Kind of wondering if I should be thinking about this cell for a moment and seeing how do I get all of the digits 1 to 9. Tempting. So what am I missing? I am missing an 8, a 9, and a second 5, 6. So you can see that this is not the 5, 6 because obviously I've got 5 and 6 looking at it. This is one of the 8, 9s. Yeah, I don't know if this is the right way to go about doing it. And then one of these is a 5, 6, and one of them is an 8, 9. This can't be the 8, 9 because I've already got 2 of them. So this is 5, 6, and now I've got 2 in the same row. And again, this is 8, 9, that's a 9, that's an 8. This is a very strange way of going about doing it. I must admit it. Now, the 5, 6 in here, does that really ruin anything? I'm not really sure it does. Have I looked at every cage? Almost. Here's something that's not a 6. That's not a 9. That's an 8, 9. So if we think about the rest of this column, I need a 3 in there. That's not a 3 because of this 3. That is a 3. That's got to be 4, 6, or 7, all of which seem feasible. Now, that's got me a triplet in the blue cell, and that essentially has covered 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are from 2 9s. Just to make sure I have the digits 1 to 9 in blue. And I'm not really sure which is which. That's okay. These 2 cells may be in row 7. I need a 4. The 4, 7 doesn't allow me to have it in here. That's the 4. That's the 9. Am I really going to start yet another color? I may well need to. But oh, come on. This is nuts. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need 5, 6, and 8. Yes, yes, I know that's a 6. That can't be a 6. And is that different? That is different. And indeed complementary. So I'll tell you what I'm noticing is I need 5 and 6. Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't matter because I've got 5, 6 rows in here. And this is essentially going to be 2, 3, and 7 to complete whatever. We're going to give this another color just so that I can refer to them. Green cells. So that's another set of the digits 1 to 9. And I'm not finding a reason to discount literally any of them other than the fact that this is not a 2 because of here. Otherwise, and this is not a 2, that is a 2. That's a 3-7 pair. We have lots of pairs in row 1, but no way of solving them. We have it. We can place a digit in here. That's a 7. So I think I'm just going to think about these 2 remaining cages. And clearly, Megan has, is solvable from here. If I can just tell which way is up at this point. I'm fairly confused about what's going on. So we need this to add up to 9. 1 8 not available. 2 7 not available because we've got 2 2s looking at this cage. 3 6 not available. It is 4 5. And that 4 is forcing an order as such. 4 and 5. That's not a 5, therefore. Again, just not enough. And the 12 cage doesn't really join up with anything. So the 12 cage and the 13 cage, right. So 12 could be 5 7. Looks plausible. This 7 tells us the order would be here. 7 and 5. Have I got any 5s in these corners? No. Then we have 8 and 4. This 4 tells me that would be a 4. That would be an 8. And again, I'm not seeing disjoint sets help us. Yep. Then the last option is 9 3. You can see we've got a 9 in here, which would place the 9 in there with a 3. Is that really? I mean, I'm going to do one more color. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there's really very little that's shared here. So that would be yellow, and these would be some other color. I'm going to go for red. Right. 6, 9, and therefore this is a 4. The 9 here doesn't actually do anything for the 15 cage. That's unfortunate. The 4 removes the 4 from this yellow option. The 4 removes therefore an 8 from in here. 2, 6, 9. Don't even know if the colors are necessarily helping me. This 9 tells us this is a 7, and therefore this is a 5. That's not a 7. Not a massive revelation, mind you. So what is the rest of yellow if we just think about it? We need 2, 3, thinking 5, and 6. And essentially we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, can I remove anything from here? Not a 2, not a 2 either. Not a 5 in either of these. Not a 6, this is just 3. There are no 3s in any of these. That's 5, 6, that looks correct to me still. This is 2, 5, 6, that looks fine. And this is 2, 6, that also looks fine. We're done with greens. I'm thinking maybe I'll consider reds next, and I probably need to go back to the cages that I haven't solved yet. But before I do that, what are these 2? So I need 2 and 6. Have I got anything in any corner? I've got a 2. No, that doesn't help. 2 and 6. That's a 2. That's a 6. That's a 2. 6 and the 2 doesn't really help us with any of these. Okay. Do I want to think about reds and then just see what else am I missing? So, I mean, I can see one of these has to be a 1. I've already got 2. I need a 3, which can only be one of these 3 cells, one of these 2 cells, pardon me. A 4 means it's not in any of these. And if, I was just about to say 7, but no, that's not the case. I could still have 4 in here as well. 5 we've already placed, 6 we've already placed. I need a 7. One of them is in here. No 7's in here. One of these could be a 7. And then I need an 8, which is none of these. One of these could be an 8. In fact, this basically has no other option, incredibly. Because it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, and it can be 8, and it's not 9. So that is 8. Don't know if that's the way you're meant to solve it, but I'll take it. That gives me a 2 in here. That's not a 2. That 2 doesn't help me any further with the 5-6 pair. That 5-6 pair, though, does give me an 8 down here with a 5, mind you. 5-6 pair doesn't help with this 8-9 still. So yeah, that's not an 8 again, obviously. So I'm genuinely wondering if I'm making a right hash of it, or this is, you know, a puzzle that requires you to pay a lot of attention and essentially do a lot of what I'm doing right now. 1, 3, 6, 7. No, we've got a 5-6 pair. That can only be a 7. That can only be an 8. That can only be therefore a 4, a 6, a 7. None of these can be 7, therefore that's a 3. That's not 3 or 7, that's a 1, that's a 4. Does that help me with this 5-8 pair? Yes, that 5 has. I think I've been basically chasing disjoint set so much that I've stopped seeing Sudoku. So I'm probably not helping myself here. Let me just think. I haven't done these and I haven't done these. So they are staying and I haven't done these. And yeah, I have done this one. So that's 9, that's 8, that's 6. That's 5, 6, 5. And the 3, 7, I'm guessing Sudoku will help. So we're done with disjoint sets. It's just Sudoku from here. We need a 3, that can only be in here. I need a 6. I need an 8, which can only be there. I need a 9. That can only be a 1 to complete the box. I need 3, which is in here. I need a 7. 3 and 7 still not solved. Okay. We know what this is, though. That's 4. Is that 1? That 3. Come on, Sleuth. I think the colors are just getting in my way of seeing the obvious now. Right. 23 minutes. And for the finish, that's a 5. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's a 7 and the solution for today's puzzle. I mean, it gets a heart. And Megan, sorry about kind of the clumsy solve. I think the opening was wonderful with the 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, with the 4 5s and then forcing a 5 in the 6, then the 1. And then I just like went off kind of the edge there. I sort of disappeared into the ether of disjoint sets and sort of forgot killer cages and Sudoku. So apologies for the clumsy solve, but you know, we got there sooner or later. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle. I'm almost tempted to sort of play it offline and just see if I've missed some trick or beauty to the puzzle that I'm just hid very well, let's say, with all of my coloring. And see you guys for the next video. Bye-bye for now.